We just wrapped up filming today's show, but I did want to inform y'all on this news that just broke this hour. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN says after clearing waivers, free agent forward Danilo Gallinari has agreed on a 2-year $13.3 million deal with the Boston Celtics. His agent tells ESPN deal is fully guaranteed and includes a player option, adding on his partial guarantee for the 2022-2023 season. Prior to the Spurs waiving him, he'll now make $17+ million this season and now joins the championship chase with the Celtics. So we knew this was coming, but now it is official. After reports broke last week that this was going to happen, Gallinari has officially joined the Boston Celtics, a big pickup for Brad Stevens and company. Welcome into Celtics Today. I am Will Scott. On today's show, we're going to be breaking down some Celtics trade rumors and get into 3 guys that the Celtics could trade for and make it work with the $17.1 million trade player exception. 3 guys that are pretty big names that could certainly benefit the Celtics. But first, subscribe and turn on those notifications. Every time we put out a video and your notifications are on, you are going to get an alert on your phone. So if you're not subscribed already, go down, hit that big red sub button, and turn on your notifications. Let's talk about the TPE, right? The trade player exception. We've talked a lot about it. So the C's have $17.1 million trade player exception from the Fournier trade. TPE allows teams to make trades without having to worry about salary cap. The Celtics traded for Brogdon on July 1st, but that did not fall in to the TPE because Brogdon's annual salary is higher than $17.1 million. So the Celtics could still make a move without having to worry about the salary cap consequences that could come with making a move. A reason they shipped all those players to Indiana in the Brogdon trade was to free up a salary cap to make that trade work. So the 3 players we are going to talk about today are players that fit into the Celtics $17.1 million TPE. All 3 of these guys were included in a Celtics Trade Rumors article from Fansided. We begin talking about Derrick Favors, who is a center from the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Celtics desperately need a backup center to go into the rotation. Favors could be that guy, and he fits into the TPE. Here's what Fansided said. A veteran big man who can help off the bench is Oklahoma City Thunder forward Derrick Favors. This has been a name that has been floated around the last couple of seasons, but maybe now is the time to make a move for him. With an expiring contract of $10.1 million, the Boston Celtics could do the Thunder a favor by taking him off their books. In doing so, the Celtics would send a player back to shave that tax bill that they have been worried about. Don't panic. Obtaining Favors shouldn't require trading Payton Pritchard or Grant Williams. They could send a player like Luke Cornett in a future second-round pick to get a deal done, and I agree with Fansided. That should be enough. Here's what Favors did last season for the Thunder off the bench as their backup center/forward, 5.3 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game. I wouldn't mind this because I don't think it would take much to get him. I'd rather not include Cornett in that trade. If you could maybe just do a second-round pick to get Favors, I'd be all for it. But I wouldn't mind it for 2 reasons. Probably wouldn't be a whole lot in terms of the compensation to get him. And number 2, the Celtics need a backup center. Now, do you want to trade for Derrick Favors? Type T for trade or type P for pass down in the comments section. Go down, let me know what you would do. To be honest, I would rather have Hassan Whiteside, so I might type my P for pass here. Now, if Brad Stevens did this, I wouldn't mind it, but I'd rather have Whiteside. And the thing with Whiteside is he is a free agent that's still out there and available. You wouldn't have to trade anything to get him. You'd have to give up a second-round pick or 2 to get Favors, maybe even give up Luke Cornett as well. Just sign Whiteside or Aldridge or a center that's available in free agency right now. I'd prefer them over Derrick Favors. Jordan Clarkson, another TPE target. He comes from the Utah Jazz. He's obviously had a very interesting career. He's been a pretty solid player everywhere he's been. Here's what Fansided said about Clarkson. If the Utah Jazz are heading into a rebuilding phase, why not call old friend Danny Ainge for Jordan Clarkson? This is not an immediate need for the Boston Celtics, but Clarkson, who averaged 16 points off the bench for the Jazz, would give them even more punch off the bench to go along with Malcolm Brogdon. With the way we know Ainge likes to hoard draft picks, which, yeah, he does, that would probably be the price for Clarkson, along with the player they would have to send back in return. One would think the former Celtics president of basketball operations would likely ask for a player he drafted in return, likely Payton Pritchard, which would benefit the young guard. Now, if I could tell you right now, you could trade for Jordan Clarkson, but you would have to give up Pritch, would you do it? Would you trade Payton Pritchard for Jordan Clarkson? Type Y for yes or type N for no down in the comments section. It's the pinned comment on today's video. When an ad break comes, go down. Let me know what you think. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Obviously, you're going to probably have to throw a second-round pick in there as well, but would you include Pritchard in the deal if it meant getting Jordan Clarkson? Here is what both players did last season. Clarkson, obviously, the better scorer. Pritchard, much younger. Pritchard, much better three-point shooter, 41% to 32%. But obviously, Clarkson, probably the better player right now. But we like Pritchard. We like the way he's developing. We like what we've seen. We like his potential. Now, when you're looking at the Celtics guards, you can make the argument that they are a little point guard heavy. Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, both point guards. Only one of those guys can start. You have Pritchard, and then you just drafted JD Davison, who we'll get to him a little bit later on in the show. He has inked a two-way contract. He's going to be on this team at least, probably half the time. So they're a little bit point guard heavy. They need another shooter off the bench, I think. Maybe a shooting guard could benefit this team. So you trade Pritchard, maybe have JD Davison a more involved role on this team, and then acquire Clarkson. It's a tough call because I really like Pritchard, but maybe you need Clarkson more. That's what Brad Stevens has to figure out. Now, if you love the C's, do us a favor, go down and hit that thumbs up icon. Like this video, because the more likes we get, the more people see our channel. We've added over 2,000 subscribers in the last 3 weeks. We're still trying to grow, so we'd appreciate your support of the channel. Like this video if you're all about the Boston Celtics. The third and final TPE target we're going to talk about today is Jakob Poeltl from the San Antonio Spurs. And if you're talking about just pure talent, this is the best player out of the three we're talking about. Fansided says this: the perfect target for that TPE is San Antonio Spurs center Jakob Poeltl. Imagine a big man rotation of Al Horford, Robert Williams, and Poeltl, who would not only provide scoring off the bench, but would also be a stretch five with rebounding and rim protecting ability, given his 7'1" frame. And scoring 13.5 points and averaging 9.3 rebounds per game last season with the Spurs, there are many teams monitoring Poeltl's availability. The Celtics would have to outbid other teams if they were to pursue him. The advantage there would be Celtics head coach Ime Udoka, who has familiarity with the Spurs organization. So Jakob Poeltl, a TP option, you could make this trade, and it could fit in to the Celtics' $17.1 million trade player exception. But Poeltl is a starting caliber center. Any team that trades for him is going to want him to start at center. I don't see him coming off the bench. He started pretty much every game last year for the Spurs. He would be awesome, but what you need on this team right now is a backup center, not a starting center. Robert Williams III is the solidified starting center who we all know and love. You don't need a starting center, and he's going to be pricey. You're going to have to give up probably a guy like Grant Williams or a first-round pick or two to get Poeltl. I don't know if that would be worth it, but he is a heck of a player. Here's what he did last season in San Antonio. 13.5 points per game, 9.3 rebounds per game, shot 62% nearly, 1.7 blocks per game. Also a very good defensive player. Obviously, the C is all about defense. So if you could pick one player to trade for out of these three, and it's definitely just going to be one. There's no way Brad can trade for two, although Brad is a genius, so maybe he would. Let me know who you trade for. Is it Derrick Favors? Is it Jordan Clarkson? Or is it Jakob Poeltl? Type DF for Favors, type JC for Clarkson, or type JP for Poeltl. Go down. Let me know. I would say Clarkson, but I really, really hope I would not have to give up Pritchard in that deal, although I do agree with Fansided. You're probably going to have to trade Pritchard to make that deal happen. Maybe don't make any trade and just sign Hassan Whiteside. We'll see what they do. Now let's get into the recap of last night's Summer League game. It was the Summer League opener for the Boston Celtics, and they fell to the Miami Heat 88-78. Nikola Jovic, not Jokic, much anticipated debut for him, but he struggled 0 points in 13 minutes. As for the Celtics, Sam Hauser was terrible. 1 for 9 from three-point range, 7 points, 3 rebounds. JD Davison, second-round pick, 10.6 rebounds, 6 assists. And then Mfiondu Kabengele, 14.6 rebounds, 3 assists. He was outstanding, a pleasant surprise for the Celtics yesterday. Now, he has NBA experience and a decent amount of it, unlike a lot of guys we're seeing in the Summer League. 51 career games played. Did not play for a team last season, spent the year in the G League. So, when you look at this guy, he's an interesting player because he has experience with the Clippers and the Cavs. Now he is on the Celtics Summer League team. And I know we've talked a lot about having a backup center. Maybe Kabengele can be that guy. Maybe he's a dark horse to be the backup center on the Celtics this year. He looked outstanding in the Summer League opener yesterday. Will he make the team? Go down and predict it. Type M for make or type W for won't. Down in the comments section. Go down there and let me know. Let's talk about JD Davison, someone who I was really excited about on draft night. I gave that pick an A. I thought it was outstanding value taking him late in the second round, and he certainly showed plenty of promise yesterday. He's a ball-dominant point guard, has some bounce, signed a two-way contract with the team before the first Summer League game yesterday. He told the press after the game, though, that he wants to compete for a full-time job on this roster. Here is the Summer League schedule. So 1 down, 4 to go. Tomorrow they will play the Bucks at 8 o'clock, and then they'll play the Warriors on Tuesday, Grizzlies on Thursday, and then they'll play a team next weekend to be determined. Thanks for watching this edition of Celtics Today. Appreciate you all watching and subscribing to the channel. As always, go C's.